Hi, myself Dr. Lakshmi Devi, Professor, Department of ECE, St. Peter's Engineering College. Here I'm going to cover a basic introduction of digital image processing as a second part. First, I already completed basic introduction fundamentals in the first video, and this is the second video as a continuation. I'm working in the St. Peter's Engineering College, which is having UGC autonomous status and Department of ECE, and main logo of our St. Peter's Engineering College, giving wing to thoughts. Now, the main contents of today's session: basic relationships between pixels, adjacency, connectivity regions and boundaries, components of image processing system, fundamental steps in digital image processing, distance measures. These are These are all a few topics in the fundamentals of digital image processing in the first unit of digital image processing and the JNTU affiliated colleges digital image processing subject. 4 neighbors and 8 neighbors, as well as diagonal neighbors and horizontal and vertical neighbors. With this particular neighbor relations with the each and every pixel, we have some like adjacency, connectivity, regions and boundaries. Okay, 8 connectivity, M connectivity, as well as adjacencies means 4 adjacency, 8 adjacency, M adjacency. Regions, based on these 8 adjacencies, how we are correlated the regions, and the boundaries based on a closed path formed on equal intensity values of the pixels. We can name it as whether it can form the boundary or without boundary, like that you can discuss based on the intensity value of the pixels. These are called the relationships between the pixels. Means here given a clear information regarding this particular relations between the pixels. Digital path or curve from P of xy to the Q of st. Suppose if you are denoting the spatial locations of P as xy and Q as st. Sequence of distinct pixels with the coordinates. Now, x0, y0, x1, y1, xn, yn. These are some sequence of pixels if you consider, where x0, y0 is equals to xy and xn, yn is equals to st. If you have equated this starting pixel location with the P pixel location and ending spatial location as Q of locations st, then for I from 1 to n, that means if I varies from 1 to n, xi, yi and xi minus 1 comma yi minus 1 are adjacent. So xi and yi and I minus 1 means before location, y xi minus 1 yi minus 1 are the before locating the pixel xi yi. In the previous column we have actually this particular adjacent pixel xi minus 1 yi minus 1. So n is the length of the path. If you consider x0 y0 is equals to x and yn, what that indicates? This indicates the closed path. That means starting point is again coming back to the ending point, means this particular all the pixel locations forms a closed path. Whenever x0 y0 is equals to x and yn, then only you can consider that as a closed path. When there is no chance to have such distinguish or equating the pixel locations in a given set, then there is no chance to forming a closed path. That appears to be an open path exist in between the set of given pixel values. Then 4, 8 or M paths depending on the type of adjacency specified, which we already come across the last figure's explanation. 4 adjacency, 4 adjacency, 8 adjacency and M adjacency. The ambiguity of 8 adjacency gets minimized with the M adjacency. These are actually options between the pixels, but here let S be a subset of pixels in an image. 8th path, M path or appears, S be a subset of pixels in the sense, if you are going to show the particular 8 path how it is exist and M path, that means 8 connectivity and M connectivity how it is exist in the sense P and Q are connected in S in a particular given subset. If path exists between them consisting of pixels in S only, S is a subset of pixels. whatever the path exists in between the P and Q, that all the path exist in given set of pixels which are belongs to the given set S. For any P in set S, set of pixels connected to it in S, connected component of S. That means how you are defining a particular P is a connected component of a given set of pixels or given subset of pixels means for any set, any pixel P in a given set S, set of pixels connected to it in S, then it's a called actually connected component of S. If P is lies in a given set means that's a called connected component of S. If only one S is a connected set, that means only one pixel if appears in the given set, that will call it as S is a connected set. P appears in the given set of S. P only appears in the given set of S means that is a connected component of S. But if S consists of only one, that is called S is a connected set. With that particular pixel only, that given set of pixels connected to some other set of pixels. In that case, we'll call it as S is a connected set. Now, R is region. In general, region we are representing with the capital letter R. So, R is a region of the image if R is a connected set. Rj and Ris are adjacent if Ri union of Rj are connected to R connected set. That means Ra, Ri union of Rj. If both the regions combination, that means combining of Ri region pixels and Rj region pixels union is equals to the connected set means, then definitely Ri and Rj's will call it as adjacent. The two regions are adjacent. Then regions not adjacent, we'll call it as a disjoint regions. If the regions are not adjacent with any of these particular relations of N4, N8, then that regions will call it as disjoint regions. This is the brief introduction regarding relations between the pixels with the adjacency, connectivity, regions and boundaries. Coming to the next topic, components of image processing system. So mainly this consists of 7 components, 7 main blocks as a components of image processing system. So first we'll consider the problem domain. That means where we are capturing the input image, how we are capturing the input image, that based on the application or based on the problem domain we are going to capture the input images. That's the first step for starting of image processing in depth. That's the reason the first problem domain given here as an input to this particular components of image processing system. So how you are after identifying the type of image which we are going to capture, through what we are going to capture? Through some imaging sensors or image sensors. Through cams or imaging sensors, we are going to capture based on our interest the particular images. That's the reason the next block or next component will call it as image sensors. After this image sensors, we have a specialized image processing hardware. After this hardware, that means for processing for pre-processing purpose, this image processing hardware we required. After that, the main digital computer we have, that's a digital computer. From this computer we have so many connections through the image display unit as well as mass storage unit as well as hard copy which we are going to maintain for the permanent storage purpose. And the another component is image processing software, which is very essential. Based on the application, the software here goes on changing. Accordingly, we can keep that all the information in the digital computers. These are the main components of image processing. Now we can see in depth one by one all these particular components of image processing system. Let us see here. So in this particular slide, I am showing here in each and every slide the total 7 blocks of image processing components, and each explanation here you can see now. First, imaging sensors. With reference to the sensing, 2 elements are required to acquire a digital images. The first is a physical device that is sensitive to the energy radiated by the object we wish to image. That means what type of physical device you have in order to capture the focusing images or capture the desired images. Based on that, the sensing mechanism have its own efficiency of capturing. Then the second point here, specialized image processing hardware. Based on the availability of the hardware for processing of these particular images, uh, based on this particular capturing mechanism as well as hardware processing, would like to have the sensing efficiency. So through that, there is a chance to have effective sensing mechanism. With the effective sensing mechanism, we are going to capture the qualitative pictures. Then specialized image processing hardware. This specialized image processing hardwares are also based on the particular type of processing mechanism, a particular type of images processing mechanism. It's having its own hardware available. Now, it consists of digitizer, just mentioned in the last video, digitizer, that is which is used for the sampling and quantization process. So it consists of the digitizer plus hardware that performs other primitive operations such as an arithmetic logic unit ALU, which performs arithmetic such addition and subtraction and logical operations in parallel on images. This is totally the required software, sorry, required hardware in order to pre-process the images. These things are required for specialized hardware processing purpose. Then digital computer. It is general purpose computer and can ranges from personal computer to the supercomputer that depends on different applications point of view. So general purpose computers we may not used for all applications point of view. Based on the specific type of applications, configuration of the computers definitely gets vary. Accordingly, we can make use of different computers with the different configurations. Then only it's possible to have different different processing images and extracting of required things from that images through a proper processing based on a proper processing configured computers. In dedicated applications, sometimes specially designed computers are used in order to achieve a required level of performance. Based on our applications, we are going to have the different configurations, different softwares and different mechanisms of extracting the information from that particular computers. Now, next, after completion of the image sensors as well as hardware required for that, and then you have the software. So it consists of specialized modules that perform specific tasks. A well-designed package also it includes, and it's a capability for the user to write a code as a minimum utilizes the specialized modules. It based on all these, we can consider how effectively we can generate or we can extract the required information from the captured images. More sophisticated software packages allow the integration of these modules. That based on the sophisticated software packages means in advances wherever it is possible in the softwares, to that extent there is a possibility to extracting the required information from the given images. There is a software block, it's a completed. Then components of image processing system under the software. Here I have given some examples. What are the different softwares are exist for processing of this particular digital images? Cell Profile, which is a free open source software, public domain software designed to enable biologists without training in computer vision or programming to quantitatively measure phenotypes from thousands of images automatically. So advanced algorithms for image analysis are available as individual modules that can be placed in sequential order together to form a pipeline. The pipeline is then used to identify and measure biological objects and features in images, particularly those obtained through fluorescence microscopy. This is one open source available to us. Then distributions are available for Microsoft Windows, the classic Mac OS operating system, Mac operating system and Linux. The source code for Cell Profile is freely available. Cell Profile is developed by the Broad Institute's imaging platforms, and this website, through this website also, would like to have open source downloading possibility. Then you can work over this to certain extent. Then image processing toolboxes are also available in MathWorks in MATLAB. So this particular image toolboxes, based on a version, we have different toolboxes are available. So image processing toolbox is complemented by the extensive resources of MATLAB software packages only, and as well as by other toolboxes such as wavelets, neural networks, and signal processing toolboxes. MathWorks softwares is well known for its quality, stability, and support of this particular image processing softwares, which in general we are using for academic purpose as well as some research purpose. Then storage devices point of view. First, if you see the mass storage, this capability is a must in image processing applications. After processing, definitely you are going to store that particular images in somewhere else in the systems. Based on the mass storage capability of the systems only, the processing results we can store very easily. An image of size 1024 by 1024 pixels, in which the intensity of each pixel is an 8-bit quantitative, requires 1 megabytes of storage space if the image is not compressed. So if it is not compressed, means definitely based on number of storing bits it requires for an image, depends on the size of the image as well as number of bits per pixel. Already in the last video we come across number of bits required for storing of an image of m by n size, and bits are represented as a k, that is b is equals to m into n into k. The same thing here also, 1024 by 1024 is the size of an image, and number of bits per pixel, if it is 8 bits, total storage space it requires without having any compression, means 1024 into 1024 into 8. That much of space it requires to store that particular image. That's a mass storage capability of a system also can support for effective storage of this particular processed images. If compression is possible, means the compressed images we can store a more number within availability of the storage. So mass storage, mass storage is this block beside to the computer. Then the next image processing applications, that means there's three principal categories based on these image applications. That is a short-term storage for use during processing, and online storage for relatively fast retrieval purpose, archival storage such as magnetic tapes and disks. These are the different categories of storage units we have: short-term storage and online storage and archival storage purposes. If you observe this particular block diagram, so networking is an actually plays a major role on computing as well as connecting all these particular blocks of components of image processing system. Even though problem domain is the input to this particular system, but without having proper network in between these two, it's not possible to communicate one block to the another block. That's why networks plays a major role on getting communication blocks in which are appears in the components of image processing system. It's almost a default function in any computer systems which are in use today because of the large amount of data inherent in image processing applications. Without having this particular network, there is no question of transmitting of the data, there is no question of compressing of the data, and which are possible to store within short storage area. A large amount of information we can store with this particular compressed mechanism with the availability of the network properly. The key considerations in image transmission is the bandwidth. Based on the bandwidth, there is a possibility to have receiving of information, full-fledged information within short duration of time for the longer distances also. So with this, the components of image processing system over, then we can see here the fundamental steps in image processing. The fundamental steps consist the total description of the digital image processing. That is, here also we can define problem domain is an input based on our interest as well as our application. We can take the problem domain. Then Based on the problem domain, we can capture with the availability of the image capturing mechanism, that we'll call it as actually the image acquisition block first. Image acquisition block, then all these blocks, image acquisition is the first block based on knowledge. That means knowledge base is connected to the all the blocks here. What exactly we are doing, what to do the next, what to do the next, and what for we are doing, and finally what we are extracting from this particular processing, and what is our goal of taking this particular input, and what we desire from this particular processing. Until to know this process, it's not possible to extracting the information. That's why knowledge base is very essential while completing any such type of processing over the input images. That's the reason here this knowledge base is connected to the all the blocks which are given here, knowledge base. That's why image acquisition is connected to a bidirectional to the knowledge base. Then with this same bidirectional image enhancement as a second process, we'll call it as image enhancement. After the image enhancement, there is another process like image restoration. After the image restoration, here based on type of color images or monochrome images, here separate block is there. That's a color image processing. So even though we have captured the color images, but that will be converted into a monochrome images, then you'll do the processings. That particular processing extracting the required information, finally we can retrieve it back as a colored images. Now, the next process is wavelets and multi-resolution processing. So, multi-resolution processing and wavelets processing, these two comes under the resolution-based processings, either spatial resolution as well as optical resolution. And based on wavelet transforms, we are performing these particular operations. That's the reason here separately given wavelets and multi-resolution processing. After that, the next block is a compression, because here we can observe sequence is there from the color image processing to wavelets and multi-resolution, then multi-resolution processing to the compression, because it's very essential to compress the given input images in order to process or in order to transmit or in order to store. That's the reason here the compression block is appears. After this is every block is connected to this knowledge base. After the compression, the next block is a morphological processing. In order to extract the significant regions or significant boundaries given in a image, we can do this morphological processing. Through this morphological processing, we can extract some features of an images. So, morphological processing, that is one important block in the total image processing. Then this is actually interrelated with the morphological processing based on the knowledge base. Here the segmentation is also connected. That means after the segmentation, the morphological processing also we can perform, or after the morphological processing, we can perform the segmentation. Okay, segmentation, so many techniques are there, but any of these techniques in a sequence we can implement in order to extract the required or desired things from these processings. So segmentation, that is the dividing an image into a constituent parts, we'll call it as an actual the segmentation here. After the segmentation, then we can extract the required information. But here the next block is representation and description. After extracting the information, we can give that particular representation of that particular extracting information, as well as description to be given for the extracting information. After that, object recognition. So what for we did this particular process, what type of importance we are giving for the extracting information, that we do in the object recognition uh, point of view. Then these are all the blocks are interrelated with the knowledge base, but here we can observe this all the blocks like image acquisition to the morphological processing we have connected with the one line here. Okay, this line shows outputs of these processing steps are generally images. In general, each one is one of the important process or in one of the important step in the digital image processing. So output of these processings in general, we can expect output is also an image. Input is also an image. Input is also image for all the processings, but output for these processings in general, it's an image only. Coming to this next, morphological processing appears in both the cases. Output of this morphological processing to segmentation processing output, representation and description, as well as object recognition. These four blocks belongs to another category, that is outputs of these steps are generally images or attributes or image attributes you can say. That is, the image features are some parameters if you have extracted from these particular processings like morphological processing, segmentation, representation and description, object recognition. These four processings combinedly you can say outputs of these processing steps are in general image attributes. This description here given, mainly these are two categories involved in the total image processing, that is method whose output and inputs are images, methods whose outputs are attributes extracted from those images. Image acquisition. It could be as simple as being given an image that is already in digital form. Generally, the image acquisition stage involves processing such scaling. Then second one is image enhancement. It is among the simplest and most appealing areas of digital image processing for improving the quality of an images. So the idea behind this is to bring out details that are obscured or simply to highlight certain features of interest in images. Image enhancement is a very subjective area of image processing. This image enhancement is a subjective area and image restoration is an objective area. So here this one is the simplest processing in the total processings of digital image processing, that is image enhancement only. For improving the quality, here we can incorporate different mechanisms for improving the quality. Based on subjective analysis, we can identify the quality of images in this image enhancement. Then this is an example of how we are observing the enhancement results with the given input, that is added image. So image enhancement, this is removing of noise presence in the given input image. Here you can observe some noise. Okay, that noise is removing through this enhancement process, and this is an output processed image enhancement through image enhancement. Now, the next one is image restoration. It deals with improving the appearance of an image. Enhancement as well as restoration, both we are using for improving the quality of an image only. It is an objective approach in the sense that restoration techniques tend to be based on mathematical or probabilistic models of image processing. Enhancement, on the other hand, is based on human subjective preferences regarding what constitutes a good enhancement result. Enhancement is a subjective quality, restoration is an objective quality. Based on identifying the degradation mechanism, if you have applied a reverse mechanism of retrieving the quality of an image, that we will call it as image restoration. Image enhancement, through the availability of the techniques, if you have improved the quality of an image, that comes under the image enhancement. After completion of image enhancement, then the quality of an image we can identify based on subjective analysis by involving the human perception and identifying the quality by collecting mean opinion score of the people. That the basic difference between the enhancement and restoration. It's an example given again here with the image restoration. This image, if you observe, it's having some blurriness in this image, input image. That will call it as either, in non-technical people can call this as an actually some degraded the quality with some blurriness like that. So if you have minimized this blurriness and maximize the quality of an image, that's only possible with the image restoration, in the sense these are actually removing of that noise and appearing the clear information through restoration. If you have identified the reason for degrading it and retrieved that particular output image by minimizing of that degradation, then automatically that mechanism of extracting the quality of an image, will call it as image restoration. Now, color image processing, wavelet and multi-resolution processing, compression. It is an first color image processing. It's an area that is been gaining importance because of the use of digital images over the internet. Color image processing deals with basically color models and their implementation in image processing applications. Then wavelets and multi-resolution processing. These are the foundation for representing the image in various degrees of resolutions. Then compression. It deals with the techniques reducing the storage required to save an image or the bandwidth required to transmit it over the network. It has mainly a two major approaches. One is lossless compression and the one is lossy compression. Morphological processing. It deals with the tools that are it deals with the tools for extracting image components that are useful in the representation and description of shape and boundary of objects. It is majorly used in automated inspection applications. Then representation and description. It always follows the output of segmentation step, that is raw pixel data you can extract through this and constituting either the boundary of an image or points in the region itself. In either case, converting the data to a form suitable for computer processing is very essential or is necessary. Then recognition. It is the process that assigns label to an object based on its descriptors. It is the last step in image processing which uses artificial intelligence of software for identifying and recognizing. Based on this particular artificial intelligence, we can give the recognition of the extracting information through this processing of any step in digital image processing. So knowledge base is interrelated with all the blocks already told you. So knowledge about a problem domain is coded into an image processing system in the form of a knowledge base. This knowledge may be as simple as detailing regions of an image where the information of the interest is known to be located, thus limiting search that has to be conducted in seeking the information. The knowledge base also can be quite complex. Such interrelated list of all major possible defects in a materials inspection problems of an image database containing high resolution satellite images for a region in connection with change detection applications. So with this total fundamental steps appears in digital image processing and components of digital image processing completed. Now the last topic in today's session, distance measures. So for pixels P and Q and Z with the coordinates of X, Y, S, T and VW respectively. D is a distance function or a metric, you can say. If D of PQ is greater than or equals to 0, D of PQ is equals to 0 if P is equals to Q. So in general, the distance between the two pixels, it may be greater than or equals to 0. That means is equals to 0 or greater than 0. If it is equals to 0 means both the pixels are located at the same place. That is P is equals to Q. So if D of PQ is equals to D of QP means the distance between the two pixels from here to there and there to here is the same. That's the meaning. D of PQ is equals to D of QP. Then D of PZ is greater than or equals to 0 if D of PQ plus D of QZ. If these two summing up of distance between P to Q and Q to Z is equals to PZ means the relation lies in between these three pixels like this with a triangular form. That is P, Q here represented. How you are calculating the distance between the P and Q with this distance measures concept varies three different ways. One is Euclidean distance between P and Q. How you are calculating the distance between P and Q in the diagonal representation point of view means this dE of PQ, that is the Euclidean measure. Euclidean we are denoting as dE, distance, Euclidean distance in between P and Q is equals to XY's are the spatial locations of the P, ST's are the spatial locations of the Q. So x minus s whole square plus y minus t whole square under the square root, if you have considered, that's the Euclidean distance between the two pixels of P and Q. So pixels having a distance less than or equals to some value or from xy are the points contained in a disk of radius are centered at xy. That is, in general, we'll consider the distance between these 2 points PQ is equal in the sense from here to here, whatever the distance, from there to here also the same distance. Coming to the next distance, D4. D4 distance is also called city block distance. That is, the distance between P and Q is defined as, here in the last equilibrium distance, this diagonal distance we have calculated, but in the city block distance we'll consider this way. Okay, this is actually the distance lies in between. So because this block, I mean this road, if it is blocked due to heavy traffic, then definitely the people can prefer this way. That's the reason it's called city block distance. So d4 of pq is equals to mod of x minus s plus y minus t. That gives the distance between these p and q through this. That is called d4 distance or city block distance. Then pixels having d4 distance from xy less than or equals to some value or form a diamond centered at xy. This actually, if you have observed this particular distance, it forms actually the diamond shape. From xy, form the following contours of constant distance. So the pixels with the d4 is equals to 1 are the 4 neighbors of xy. So from 0, if it consider 0 as the center pixel, these 4 ones are 4 neighbors, and these 2's are d4 is less than or equals to 2 means this all the 2's comes under the distance measures of this particular city block from here to like this. Okay, these distances from here to here like this and from here to here like this, we can observe these are d4 distances, which where d4 is less than or equals to 2. Coming to the next, d8 distance, that's called chessboard distance. D8 distance, to the maximum extent we have 8 blocks in the chessboard. That's the reason it's called actually the chessboard distance, Chebyshev distance. D4 distance is also called chessboard between P and Q is defined as D8 of PQ is equals to maximum of x minus s comma y minus t. X, y's are spatial locations of P only. S, t's are spatial locations of Q. So P of xy and Q of st. And if you want to calculate the chessboard distance between the P and Q means maximum of mod of x minus s comma y minus t, whichever is the maximum in this, that if you have considered, that will call it as d8 distance in between the p and q. So in general, pixels having d8 distance of from xy less than or equals to some value or form a square centered at xy. With this particular distance of xy less than or equals to some value of r, which can forms a square centered at x squared. This is actually the square centered at xy. With this d8 distances, we'll consider for each and every center pixel. These are d8 distances, whether it may be a maximum here also 3, here also 3. That is d8 distance less than or equals to 2 from xy form the following contours of constant distances, which will form as a square. This is d8 distance. With this, the distance measures Euclidean distance, chessboard distance, and city block distance. Totally 3 distances are also under the distance measures completed. With this, the fundamental topics of digital image processing completed. The first unit, first part of digital image processing under JN2H syllabus of 3rd year 2nd semester. So thank you. Stay at home, charge your brain, because now we are in lockdown period of COVID-19. Please take care of yourself. Thank you.